Well, howdy, garage people. Welcome back to the ever-lengthening Camaro saga here in my girlfriend's garage. And no, you're not seeing double. That's an LS1 engine block right there. And that is almost an LS1 engine block right there as well. Yes, sirree. I went and got myself another motor. So I'll turn you around here. And you can see this beauty of a motor that I just picked up from a local friend. Shout out to him. I got the short block, so the pistons, rods, crank, and the engine block, plus a valley cover and the front and rear covers, and some random odds and ends in here. No camshaft. That's alright, because mine's hopefully going to be able to get repaired. It is currently at a shop, so I'll get that BTR cam back, ideally. This has a broken knock sensor that I got to get rid of, but other than that, I just have to hone the bores and deburr all the sharp edges inside the block here, and then it will be ready to go to get jet washed again. We'll see if I can beg Todd into letting me use his sweet jet tank. And yeah, that's the plan. So here is the number on this block. It is 125,166, 125,611,68. And my old one here, focus, 125,563,78. So that one is newer than this one. I think, yeah, 265, 611. Yep, this one is definitely newer, which makes sense, because originally this came out of a Cadillac CTS-V. So it's a LS6, same as the Corvettes. And which I thought is kind of interesting. There's provisions for a timing chain little damper here, which I have. I've already knocked the cam bearings out. And the crank and the bearings are all out of that, obviously. But on my block, my old LS1 block, I don't know if you can quite see. Yeah, there you can see. Right above the crank main there, those two little pads normally have the, or not normally, but on an LS6, I guess, they have the provisions for that little timing chain, little plastic dealie that goes in there, and on this block it doesn't, so it's kind of interesting. Also, these webs are not seemingly on the other one, which is cool and strange. And this says 5.7, but this says B. So, I'm not quite sure about that. I didn't measure it though, and this is definitely a 5.7 block. And there's not the checkering on the valley either. It's just that. So, very interesting. So, cool stuff. They definitely do have the same size pistons though. And this is a 24X crank reluctor wheel. And the crank itself has been drilled to hell and back, which is fine. It's just kind of funny. This thing definitely has some use on it, which I'll get to in a sec. But everything is awesome. The journals are all super smooth. Not a fingernail catch on any of them. They don't even have the, you can barely even see the difference in color from the space between where the rods used to be. So, super cool on that. I got my old oil pump here, ready to clean out and put back in. Actually, that's my original one. My Summit one is in there because some metal went through it, and I'm just not going to use that one. Maybe I'll show you a little bit. I don't know, just so-so on it. But here's the mains for this new engine, and some of the piston pins, the wrist pins, which I've taken out. Old camshaft bearings. Definitely needed replacing. And then I also got the pistons and rod assemblies. These are Mitch's pistons, Gen 1 out of an LS1. These are my old pistons, Gen 1 out of an LS1. And these, out of this LS6, are slightly different. So, I believe these are factory pistons. They definitely have the divot in them. But they've got a coating on the skirt, which is pretty cool. I think that was LS6 spec, which would make sense. They all have the factory ring pack. So again, that seems to be normal. But these pistons are full floating, whereas, you know, held in with the little circlips there, like you'd find on a dirt bike or whatnot. And these are press fit pins, or wrist pins. So you can see there's no circlip in the side there. They're just pressed into the rod, and that's what holds it in place, or pressed into the piston rather, and the rod can slide back and forth. So those were all damaged to some extent out of my other engine. They could probably be saved, but like you can see where the piston kissed a valve right there. And maybe I'll clean them up and save them, and just to have some, I don't know. Probably not, because these pistons all came off very nicely, and these rods are the newer generation, still split cap, but they are full floating. So I am definitely going to be reusing these because they're much stronger than those other ones, and I'm going to put ARP bolts in them, so I'll be set there. And I think I have to buy new pistons to fit on those full floating rods, because most likely wasting the time to get those pressed out and then put on these new rods would not be worth it. And I think I would rather just have the new pistons anyway. So that's interesting. But the main thing that I think is super cool that came out of this engine was... Hi, girlfriend! Yay! Sippies! Oh, man. What I think was super interesting out of this motor is these 4 pistons. So, this motor was in a Cadillac CTS-V, which is naturally aspirated from the factory, but the guy who had this put an LSA blower on it, which comes on the LSA motors, like the later CTS-V and the Camaro ZL1, I think, and I can't remember if any of the Corvettes had the LSA blower. I know they had like the LS9 blower eventually, but I can't remember if they ever had an LSA. But anyway, the LSA was the 6.2. I think they were like 550 crank or 600 crank horsepower or something like that. And this guy put one of those blowers on this block and was making like well north of 500 to the tire, maybe even about 600, I think, for a while. And he was beating on it, and it had some miles, and it was running like a champ. And he had it on the dyno, and was pulling good, pulling strong, and all of a sudden it made a little less power, and they pulled it again, and it was down a little more, and then it started smoking out the breather. So they're like, nah, pull it off the dyno, like it's no good. We gotta try to save it. Which was, in hindsight, the best move ever, because it did get pulled off the dyno when it was smoking, but before it went bang, which was super good on the guy who I bought it from part to save it, because otherwise I probably would not be using it, because this engine was definitely, I would say, seconds away from catastrophic failure. All the boost, the compression, the cylinder walls are okay. I just gotta hone them out. There's a little bit of rust on some of it, but they are super good, no big dings or anything like that, which is lucky for me, because these ringlands are just absolutely destroyed. The boost just killed all of this, and there was a little bit of detonation on, this is piston number 8. You can see just a little there. And these ringlands are actually okay, but these ones were all screwed. And the crazy thing was, when I spun this engine over to take it apart, none of these pieces fell out because they were held in by the cylinder. And even when I took off the main cap, or the rod caps, and popped them out with the butt of a hammer, all the rings were still in, and all these pieces were all still wedged in their respective grooves. And they didn't start falling out until I got the rings out to relieve the pressure that then allowed them to fall apart. So yeah, this engine was stopped literally seconds before, I would say, it just completely bought the farm. Like, look at this. So yeah, super lucky on my part. So crank, savable and usable, which is awesome, even with the drills. Rods, all savable and usable. I got my rented cylinder hone deglazer here, which makes this block savable and usable because it already is. And then I will clean that really good and surface the deck surface there. And then go through and take off all the sharp edges on everything with my Dremel. And then we'll put it in the tank. So yeah, pretty excited on that. All this stuff, it was really lucky of me to find it as it was. I got the short block plus rotating assembly for $800, and just the bare blocks as cores are going for somewhere around $1,000 these days. So I am super grateful to Buddy, who I got this from. Shout out to Travis Durst, the magic maker, for setting up that connection. Just glorious. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. That goes for this whole project. So yeah, I wanted to get evidence of these just to show Buddy how crazy this thing was. But I'm going to get this apart, hold on to these rods, take the spare bolts out of the side, so then I can keep the rods with the caps. But then I got my new bolts coming, so we'll put those in after we get these clean. And yeah, we will be chilling like villains. It's going to be awesome. So I will come back and update you guys more when I know more. But for now, it's going to be cleaning parts, porting this oil pump, which you guys saw previously. It's going to be cylinder boring or honing, and then it's going to be getting this to the jet washer. So if I don't see you before I do that, that's all the interesting stuff, and I will definitely bring you back to my girlfriend's garage when I start any sort of assembly. So that'll be a lot of fun. I think that's all I got for you guys currently, so I'll let you go. But consider this update, rebuild update number 2, I guess. We are shoulders deep in a new engine, and we're going to piece it together as best we can, and we're going to send it by maybe, if not May 1st, first week in May. How about that? Goals. All right, folks. Catch you later. Hey, garage people. Coming at you again from just outside my girlfriend's garage. Just a little update here. It is now Sunday, and I'll turn you around. And I've got a prepped and cleaned LS6 block ready for the jet washer. I've cleaned off the deck surfaces, we deglazed the cylinders, I deburred the whole block, and it is all torn apart and ready to get put in the jet washer. Got my stand there, and my rod caps here, I'm gonna put, or my main caps, I'm gonna clean in the parts washer while this is getting jet washed. These are Mitch's pistons, and they're gonna have to go back to them because we're gonna use our Gen 4 rods and get some new Hyper-Eutectics from Summit. So, just wanted to finish you off from where I left off yesterday. Block is back in the car, off the stand. We'll close this. We'll take you inside. Car is back down. Got all my recyclables here. Old metal press fit pistons, tapped against valves, old bearings, wrecked pistons, yada yada yada. And here are my new Gen 4 full floating connecting rods over here. So those are getting saved, and they will get the new ARP connecting rod bolts when those are back in, and then I will attach the new pistons to them. So now we officially are waiting on parts. So what we're gonna do is get everything we have cleaned or further cleaned. It's just those couple parts. And then once we get all our stuff back in, we will have our engine block ready to hone, or to set the piston ring gap on our new rings. We'll have to check bearing clearances with our new bearings and see what we want to use as far as standard and oversized bearings go. We will also have to install our new cam bearings for hopefully our repaired BTR cam, which I will hopefully be learning more about this week. And then after the clearances check out, after the pistons are assembled, and after all the bearings are in and the rings, we can assemble our new engine. So that'll be pretty fun as well. My crankshaft is sitting right there. So that's ready to rock. And pretty much everything else is clean. We got our new valve springs coming, or new valves, and we got our old valve springs to put back on in our TEA ported heads. I do have to clean those up a little bit with some Scotch-Brite or a Dremel tool, but I will do that soon. And yeah, so we're going to be waiting on parts. We're doing some cleaning, and then we will start assembling stuff. Couple new stickers on the lift. Yeah. So yeah, things are pretty good around here, if you pardon the engine blowing up, but we're making the best of it. So tune in shortly, I guess. You're tuned in right now. I guess stay tuned in. I'll let you guys know. I'll probably post a couple shorts once I start getting parts in. And yeah, we'll go from there. So good stuff. See you in the soon. Hey garage people, it is now Monday. And it's Monday afternoon, and I'm still in the garage. The reason for that is the weather. I'll take you outside in a sec, but track practice got canceled today, so I hung out in the garage, got a couple little things done, and managed to pack the Subaru, the Chevelle, the Grand Prix, the Camaro, the four-wheeler, and the lawnmower in here along with all my stuff, because there's some severe weather on the way. But first, turn you around. I've got my cylinder heads here. Here are all the savable valves that I took out. Don't worry, they're numbered. So that's good. Got my springs and my keepers and retainers all stashed away over here. The other side head is over here. But what I'm going to do, I got all the valves out, so I'm going to clean these and then clean up the dings in this cylinder chamber, as you can see. So this is the worst of the damage on the valve, or on the seat rather. The valves in this cylinder got pretty ruined with pock markings and stuff. But there's not a lot of the only damage is really on the chamber side, not the port side of that seat. And this one isn't really damaged at all. These other ones, just the valves had a couple little flecks of material on them in some places, so I'm just popping them all out and I'm going to lap them all. But this I'm just going to hit with a little sandpaper, take off the hot spots there, or the high spots. I'll polish all these a little bit with like a wire wheel or a brush, brass wire, so it doesn't damage the aluminum. And then I got 4 more valves coming to go with these. And I got my little valve sticks here, which I'm keeping the receipt because I might return them when I'm done if I can open them sneaky. Shh, don't tell anyone. And then I got the lapping compound. I think it's over here. Ah! Yep, there it is. So, heads are apart, and they're ready to be cleaned and then lapped with the new valves and then back together. And then they will be ready to rock, which is pretty cool. Fully savable, which, let me flip this over here. Obviously, you guys know the reason why I'm so happy to save these. But just for posterity's sake, boom, there's the money. Stock 241 heads. Not quite. So yeah, very happy about that. These things will clean up perfect. I'll save them. If you look on here, the camera can't quite pick it up super good, but oh, there you go. Look at that hash mark on the top of that valve stem there. I'm like perfectly centered over the valve. Look at that. So my push rods are great. I'm going to leave everything as is on that front, which is awesome. Got some break-in oil here. I'm going to go to 540 and do some loose clearances on the bearings. So I'm going to break it in with the 1040 driven. What else? Oh, I got another oil filter, and then attached to my nitrous bottle is a tube. That's the blowdown evacuation tube for the blowout, which is for safety, which I'll route out of the car when I get it mounted. Connecting rods are in here weighing this down because I got a new gasket on the bottom of that to replace the one that was mangled from my own stupidity, no doubt. Oh, and then we got our improved racing packages as well. Crank scraper and a new windage tray, which is good because this engine that I bought did not come with either of those things. Definitely not a crank scraper and not a windage tray either. Oh yeah, new shade. Check me out. So I got pistons on the way from Summit to go on those rods. And then my only other thing from Summit coming in is the Lingenfelser control box, which will go in between the harness, the coils and the wiring harness, and then route into my nitrous activation system to pull timing for the nitrous, and then I'll route it to my clutch pedal to give me a two-step when I'm on the clutch. So that'll be a lot of fun. That's on the way with the pistons, and then just a coupler to replace this one that I threw away. It's almost good, but it's got a hole in it, so not gonna hold on to it. Yeah, so that'll be fun. Got my engine stand in the Grand Prix. You can kind of see that there. Yeah, there. It's hiding in the back there. And the block's in the trunk, so the cylinder heads won't be going anywhere, which is good. And I can clean the block and clean the main caps as well. So let me take you outside here quick. We got some weather coming in. A little bit. It's starting to rain over there. Got the good cars in the garage. Well, not that the Trailblazer is not a good car, because it is, but in the whole scheme of things, you know, that's the one that stays outside, so it's just how it is. Well, we got some breeze going on. But, I don't know, folks. It doesn't look that sinister to the northwest to me. Everyone's talking like it's hell or high water, and I don't know. Got a little bit of thunder coming, but I don't know. What is this? Fairyland? Over the roof of the house there, you can kind of see it. Whatever. I'm gonna run out to the mail and see if anything else is here. I got a new intake shell sealed from eBay on the way. And I've also got what else is coming here shortly? Oh, the bolts for the clutch and the new pilot bearing, and then also, what was that last thing? The pilot bearing, oh, I got the head gaskets in there, that's what I was gonna say as well. And then the one other thing that I had to order separate, oh, the valves, yeah, they're coming here as well, but I don't think they're gonna be here today. So yeah, waiting on one more Summit order, and Rock Auto for all the gaskets and all that fun stuff and the spark plugs, and then a couple fun things, and hopefully once we get those bearings, the hardest thing to do will be measure out the clearance and check those, and if that measures out, we'll be solid. And I gotta inquire about my cam when I get back up to Buffalo, because I'll have new cam bearings to put in that block, so we should be good to go. But yeah, I'm gonna go watch some Storm and upload this bad boy, and I'll chat with you guys later. So this will end up being a little bit of a longer episode, but got you a few days. So yeah, I will hopefully see you next time with a clean engine block. Adios.